to try to say something or interpret anything. This is just Shakyamuni reminding, is it still Kashyapa we're speaking to? I think it is. Yeah. That the connection between the root fundament of all life, the momentum of the engine of life, the Tathagata field, the quiescent energy, the potential of runs throughout our human experience through our minds, through our consciousnesses. That everything we do or create, quote unquote, is a manifestation of that potential. This is why he calls it the hidden storehouse. This is the potential we draw from with or without understanding of its existence or how it works. Thus, the practice to awaken that awareness. You see? Let's continue. Ga, G-A, means store. Store means the undisclosed store of the Tathagata field. All beings have this Buddha nature, hence Ga. You see what he just said in those two sentences? Store means the undisclosed store of the Tathagata field. The Tathagata field is a store because there's no knowing all of the potentials that are in it. It's simply potential of life, of experience of life, of sensations of life, of expressions of life, of right? On and on. And all beings, all things that are, quote unquote, ing, right? Because everything's in momentum, moment to moment to moment to moment. Therefore, things are not is, they are, right? Verb, not noun. Life have this Buddha nature. Without this Buddha nature, without Tathagata field, there would be no potential for experience or expression or life. There would just be what? Energy, rocks, dirt. Ga, with an H, G-H-A, is the eternal sound of the Tathagata. What is the eternal sound of the Tathagata field? The so-called Tathagata field is eternal and does not suffer change, hence Ga. Na, N-A, represents the breaking, destructible, impermanent characteristics of all beings, hence Na. Namu. Na. The ever moment-to-moment changing being. Mu, dedicated to. Let's see if he gets to that. Ka, C-A, means to practice. As it subdues all beings, we say practice. Interesting. So he doesn't mean subdue all beings by virtue of battle or force, like that judo master subdued his opponent in 2 minutes. That's not what he means. What he's saying is, as it subdues all beings, we say practice. You, me, them, her, him, all of us are beings. And to practice is to be humbled. Know not only that you are at one with an incredibly immense one cosmos, but that as a human being, you are an infinitesimal small part. Though you can have a great impact, be humbled by the efforts you must make in order to do so. All the more reason to multiply yourself by introducing others and to grow that self into a sangha, larger and larger, right? Cha, C-H-A, means Buddha, who houses, shades, protects all beings, as in the case of a great parasol, hence Cha. So your Buddha-ness, your attainment of Buddhahood, is a shelter for all of those around you. Buddhists or no, your aura of ninth consciousness, of knowing, of awareness, shares its aura of potential with all those you're around. For them to these are the moments in the supermarket when you're walking around and somebody just walks up to you and asks you what you know about Buddhism, or they heard you were a Buddhist and they're wanting to climb out of their whatever background and make a change. And they may just dump on you for a while. That's what they need. But they sought you out because of that umbrella that said you would be safe to talk to about this and welcomed. Again, this is humbling because it means that instead of just saying, leave me alone, who the hell are you? You now understand. You have an acceptance, a welcoming spirit, a spirit of compassion. This person is in dire need. I must do to what I am able, help this person discover Buddhism for themselves. Ja, J-A, means right, true emancipation. There arises in this no aging. Hence, Ja, or Ja with an H, stands for the great proliferation of defilements, as in the case of the great forest, hence Ja. Na means wisdom. It means true dharmata, hence Na again. A different Na than the earlier Na, but still very related. I know this can get tedious, friends, but it's also somewhat fascinating. Every one of these terms is almost like a little haiku, because you must first divorce yourself of flat base meanings of things and seek in the sound a relationship with potential experience, not a normative behavior, right? Because we're so samsarically bound. Where is the material in this? Where is the thing in this? It's not there. This is the expression of potential. And so as an exercise, it's a mind opener. Ta, T-A. Listen to all the noises that just came into your mind. Good, bad, funny, serious. Ta. Signifies speech delivered about dharmas in Jambudvipa, showing a half body, as in the case of a half moon, hence Ta. Because our communications are only half delivered, right? The meaning, I've talked about this before. We share words with one another, but they're just presumptive associations with stories and meanings that we have when we say it and that is heard when it is heard. Because those are not our experiences when it is heard. It is the hearer's experience, right? So we fumble around all day with these sounds, trying to transmit some kind of code of experience. Coded language, yes? Tha, T-H-A, represents the perfection of the Dharma body, as in the case of the full moon, hence Tha. Da represents the ignorant bhikshu who does not know the eternal and the non-eternal, or as in the case of a child, hence Da. Makes you think twice next time you hear a baby going da, 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 da. Da, D-H-A, represents a person who feels no obligation towards his teacher, as in the case of a ram, hence Da. Na, again Na, N-A, represents lack of knowledge of the meaning of what is sacred, not holy. As in the case of a non-Buddhist heretic, like a Jain, hence Na. Ta, again, T-A, represents the Buddha Tathagata field, who says to all bhikshus, "Come away from fright and fear. I shall now deliver lectures on the wonderful Dharma," hence Ta. Tha, again, T-H-A, means ignorance. Beings repeat birth and death and bind themselves, as in the case of a silkworm or a dung beetle, hence Tha. Da, again Da, means great giving. This is the so-called Mahayana, hence Da. Right? Earlier, Da represented the ignorant bhikshu who does not know the eternal from the non-eternal, as in a child. Here, Da means great giving. This is also called Mahayana, hence Da. So these are just two sides of the same sound, aren't they? One a giver, one a receiver. Da, D-H-A, praises virtue. It is as in the case of the three treasures, which are like Mount Sumeru soaring up, grand, extensive, and yet not inclined to one side, hence Da. Na, once again, Na, N-A, alludes to the three treasures, which stands quietudefully rooted, not inclining to one side or moving, like the threshold of a gate, hence Na. So you see, when we try to define these characters, Na, Mu, Myoho, Renge, Kyo, understand that they have all of these layers of meaning when they're uttered, sung, chanted, expressed. Pa, P-A, means inverted. If a person says that the three treasures expire, this shows that that person himself entertains doubt. Hence, Pa. Remember we talked about the inverted understandings a while back? Pha, P-H-A, not the soup, refers to the ill fortune of the world. If a person says that when ill fortune arises in the world, the three treasures also expire, this indicates that that person is ignorant, that he has no knowledge, and that he acts against the exalted will, hence Fa. Now, other than the sound, what does he mean when he says ill fortune arises in the world, the three treasures also expire? That's a fundamental misunderstanding of Buddhism, isn't it? Let me explain. Tathagata field is eternal. The potential for the engine of life to roll on in momentum, it's always there. So if there's ill fortune, bad luck, you get in a car accident, whatever, does that mean that the innate Buddha nature that all living beings have suddenly disappears? No, of course not. If your neighbor or friend gets in a car accident tomorrow, are you going to be bruised and have broken limbs and traumatized? Of course not. This makes just as much sense. Ba refers to the 10 powers of Shakyamuni Buddha, hence Ba. Ba, with an H, Baha, refers to the shouldering of what is heavy. It can stand bearing the heaviness of wonderful Dharma. Know that such a person is a great bodhisattva, hence Baha. Ma, M-A, refers to all bodhisattvas who strictly uphold the institutions, the rules, this so-called Mahayana Parinirvana, hence Ma. Ya, Y-A, alludes to those bodhisattvas who, for the benefit of beings, preach the Mahayana doctrine in all places, hence Ya. Thank you, my friends. Ya. Ya, ya. Ra crushes out greed, anger, and ignorance, and disseminates wonderful Dharma, hence Ra. La, L-A, relates to the Shravaka vehicle, which moves, changes, and has no place to live in, no permanent abode. Mahayana is safe and firm, and there is no inclining or moving with it. Abandoning the Shravaka vehicle, one makes effort and practices the unsurpassed Mahayana, hence La. So this points to a historic shift in the teachings that, once again, if you look at the chapters surrounding the apparition of the city, what kind of city? The jeweled city? Anyway, it's about the semblance Dharma, right? It's about the teaching for a period of time that Nichiren gave the monks a bit of a break because they were starting to get so compounded by their lack of capacity that they thought they would never reach the ultimate goal. And so Shakyamuni said, well, if you've done this much, you've reached the ultimate goal. Now, okay, I think we can do that. And that was the whole Arhat thing, right? But that wasn't the end. In the Lotus Sutra, Shakyamuni made it abundantly clear. Get off your lazy asses and go all the way. That was just a temporary respite. Use the energy from learning that and feel confident, and now let's go the last mile, yeah? All right. Va means that the world-honored one is he who showers down upon all beings the great aim of the Dharma. He is, as it were, a so-called fortune-telling sutra, hence Va. Ka, once again, C-A, means to part from the three arrows, the three barbs of greed, malevolence, and ignorance, hence Ka, or might be pronounced Sa at this point, I'm not sure. This is the age we're living in right now, right? Greed, malevolence, and ignorance. Or as it's sometimes said, greed, anger, and stupidity. Same thing. Sa, S-A, means perfection. If one truly hears this great Mahayana, Lotus, and MahaPariNirvana sutras, one already hears and upholds all about Mahayana Sutras. Hence, Sa. Sa means the wonderful Dharma is expounded to all beings so that people feel rewarded. Hence, Sa. I need to return there. Boy, oh boy. Ha, H-A, bespeaks the mind's state of gladness. Ha 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 ha. How wonderful is it that the world-honored one departs from all actions. Strange is it that Shakyamuni Buddha enters parinirvana. Hence, ha. L-H-A-M, I don't know how you'd say that, ham, signifies Mara. Innumerable Maras are unable to destroy the hidden storehouse of the Tathagata field. Hence, ham. Interesting. Remember, he never says, or in these translations, never says, this means that. He says it signifies that. That means that this is one aspect of this sound. This is one potential of this sound. Parameter. The four letters R, R, L, L, or R, R, I, L, not sure, have four meanings. These are Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and Abhidharma. Abhidharma relates to what obtains in the world. It shows that Devadatta attempts to destroy the Sangha. He transforms himself into various forms, faces, and concrete forms. The case is like this. All this is to establish Vinaya. The wise should clearly see through this and not entertain any fear. This is following what obtains in the world. Hence, R, R, L, L. Don't know what those actually look like in the Sanskrit form. But it leaves a little to be done. I'll research that a little further, see if I can clarify that some. The annihilation of breath is the sound which one gets when the tongue accords with the nose. We gain the meaning by the long, short, or the one that supersedes the sound. All differ according to the actions of the tongue and teeth. So that's an important insight. All these sounds, although they may sound or look the same on paper, when they're uttered, depending on what precedes them or what comes after them, and how they're pronounced, right? How I use my tongue, teeth, nose, breathe, all affect the meaning. So there you have it. Sanskrit, not that different from English, except that those sounds and meanings are very particular and they must be expressed in the standard forms, right? So when I say, he did this, that, the other, and I say, that was something he did, the way I said he would be interpreted as something else, some different aspect of whether somebody was important, unimportant, a player, the player, whatever. We don't carry those subtleties into modern language. Sometimes they appear, and we just take them for granted, right? The inhalation of breath is the sound which one gets when the tongue accords with the nose. We gain the meaning of the long, short, or the one that supersedes the sound. All differ in accordance with the actions of the tongue and teeth. Right? All right. Let's see, how much longer is this chapter? It's not much longer. Let's finish it, shall we? I'm ready to move on. All such meanings of the letters will enable beings to purify their verbal actions. This is all about communication. Again, this whole thing is about propagation. This whole chapter, right? Be aware of how you speak. What's your attitude and intent, your thought behind it? How do you express it? Do you express yourself effectively, or do you express yourself unknowably, quixotically? Do you not make adequate differentiation in how you speak about this versus that? So on and so forth, yeah? The Buddha nature of beings does not first become pure when assisted by letters. Once again, a reminder that words, letters, language is a poor substitute for Buddha nature. It doesn't come through right away. Why not? Because the nature is originally pure. The experience of Buddhahood is the quintessential. The moment you try to communicate it, you are tumbling down the experience of enlightenment. So you can't expect, unless you get the person, as Nichiren would say, to chant with you. Now you're both on an even keel of sorts. You both have opened that ninth consciousness. So now your words, even if you're not perfect with them, will have the benefit of insight from the hearer, even though they don't understand all of that, because you've cracked open their ninth consciousness, yeah? Very important. Also, while coexisting with the five skandhas, right, our samsaric mind, the 3,000 realms and the 12 spheres of senses, right, the Buddha nature is not one with the five skandhas, the 3,000 realms, and the 12 spheres. Because of this, all beings should take refuge in the bodhisattvas and others. Because of the existence of the Buddha nature within them, beings are viewed with equal, non-discriminating eyes, and there is no difference. Hence, the half-letters form the basis of all sutras, all written material, and sentences, right? You don't get the whole story from all of these sutras, the writings, any scholarship and so forth. It's good, but it only gets you halfway. You can't really experience Buddhahood without experiencing Buddhahood, and you need a proper guide to do so. Also, the meaning of the half-letters refers to the root of all defilements. So they are called half-letters. The full letters are the root of all good dharmas, or experiences, right? So, they're called full letters and speech. For example, those of the world who do malevolence are called half-letters, and those who do good, full letters. So he's another analogy, right? Based on behavior, attitude, and intent. You've heard the term half measures, right? You could apply it here. It's very similar. Half letters. You're only half accomplished, which in some cases is not accomplished at all. You must go the second half. You must have a full measure of engagement. Thus, all sutras and the Abhidharmas are based upon the half letters. People may say that the Buddha and true emancipation fall under the category of the half letters, but this is not so. Why not? Because these two, the Buddha and Abhidharmas, are from letters. Because of this, Shakyamuni Buddha is unmolested, unconstrained, unattached, and fully emancipated in all things. How do we arrive at the meaning of the letters? If one comes to think that the Buddha Tathagata field appears in the world and does away with the half letters, this is understanding the meaning of the letters. Any person who follows the meaning of the half letters is one who does not know the nature of Shakyamuni Buddha Tathagata field. What is the meaning of the letter less? One who associates with those who practice the teaching of malevolence belongs to the letter less. Also, although a person may associate with those who do good, if he does not know the difference between the eternal and the non-eternal, or the constant and the non-constant of the Buddha Tathagata field, and the two treasures of the Dharma and the Sangha, between Vinaya and non-Vinaya, sutras and non-sutras, the words of Mara and those of Shakyamuni Buddha, such a person is one who is letterless. This do I state regarding how one is letterless. O good man, for this reason you should part from the half letter and arrive at the meaning of the complete letters. Bodhisattva Kashyapa said to Shakyamuni Buddha, O world honor, when I shall now thoroughly learn the number of letters, I have encountered the unsurpassed teacher. I have now received the kindly injunctions of Shakyamuni Buddha Tathagata field. Shakyamuni Buddha praised Kashyapa and said, well said, well said. A person who is intent upon wonderful Dharma should learn things thus. So learn what there is to learn from the written materials, the sutras, so on and so forth. But apply that knowledge to inculcate your own enlightenment within the knowledge gained from the half letters, so that you can understand the full letter of the law, and then, having attained the law, enlightenment, no longer needing the letters, just wield and live within Buddhahood. Makes sense? Let's see what I said here. I have a little note at the end. We must keep in mind that this is a nearly 3,000-old dialogue, right? In other words, I would not be in a hurry to seek out a translation app to learn Sanskrit, right? That's not where the answer is. I know some of you may have tried that. I've had people contact me about that. You're not going to learn Buddhism better because you understand Sanskrit. Chances are it'll take you a lifetime to understand Sanskrit. And you can understand Sanskrit much faster if you simply work on the language you know. Because the language and the letters are not where the enlightenment is. And this chapter really digs into that. You see? Just as Shakyamuni and scholars of Buddhism within the Buddhist system, culminating with Nichiren, often remind us, the reliance on early teachings is not appropriate for our times and our capacity. Shakyamuni also is written to have said that the teachings should be taught in whatever local language is within the region. These are Shakyamuni Buddha's own words. All right. So that's the end of that chapter. I have to admit, I found that chapter very interesting, but I did have to reread it a couple of times before I was able to unattach myself from each and every, because I was so fascinated with these sounds, yeah? I mean, in the martial arts, we learn sounds are incredibly important to match our mind, our will, our volition with our body's energy, our chi, right? Like in Tai Chi Chuan, where we take our volition, our mental gathering of the power in our body, stored in our body, accumulated in our body from our surroundings, and directed through our bodies to manifest, right? A fist, right? Chuan, manifest physically that wielding, that culmination of the volition of moving our energy. So I was very focused on those sounds. And finally, I just read through it. And then it made sense to me that this wasn't so much about the sounds or the letters after all. That was about how we express our experiences. To better be Bodhisattva, Lotus Bodhisattva, transmitters of the law, transmitters of the Dharma. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Yeah? Hi. All right. Well, that was delicious. And the next chapter, by the way, is on the parable of the birds. And if you haven't heard that parable, well, you're about to. So that should be interesting. In the meantime, study, use the resource. All the links are below in the description, yeah? While you're at it, please consider supporting this effort, right? Through Patreon membership or direct through PayPal, right? All those links below as well. Those of you who are doing that, you are amazing, Bodhisattva. Thank you so much. And if you can't at this point, that's okay. Like and subscribe. Those are very powerful to the algorithms and help spread this teaching to more people, make it available to more people. That's very important. It's part of our propagation, yeah? So thank you for all of that. In the meantime, please take care of your health. And I will see you in the next video. Very good. Bye for now.